Welcome. I'm Father Mitch Pacwa, and welcome to EWTN Live. We're bringing you guests from around the world. Tonight on EWTN Live, we'll look at the spiritual legacy that continues to thrive after the earthly life and reign of a queen and empress came to an end, and her holy example that she left behind is continually recalled to promote strong, healthy, and holy marriages. First, we would like to speak briefly with EWTN's Peter Gagnon about the many special events and programming coming up this Christmas. Peter, what have you got for us for Christmas?
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me come on to talk a little bit about it. So as the season of Advent, we really always want to focus on that and leading up to it. But we start airing some of our Christmas programming on the 17th when the O Antiphons start.
Yes.
And that's been kind of our tradition to start. So one thing we're really excited about is the relationship we have with the Shrine in Knock, Ireland. And we're going to be showing a beautiful Christmas concert, Candles and Carols, that is going to be presented from there, and it's a brand new concert this year, and people I think are really going to love it. There's meditations in between where the rector of the shrine is going to be giving some talks, and the music's really beautiful. And then we're also going to present our EWTN Choir's Christmas special as well, which we aired last year that people really appreciated, and it's just another highlight of a lot of the musical programming we have. A new one this year is Aman and the Night Visitor. It's a stage play, a stage production about a beautiful children's story about a kid who gives up his thing for the Christ child. He's crippled and he gets healed. It's a beautiful story. And then we also have a look at Reclaiming the Carol, a look at the Christmas Carol, what was the real story behind it.
And that's Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol.
Correct, yes. Correct. And then we're going to have a variety of liturgies also that we're going to bring. So there's masses from here, from the Shrine of Washington, D.C., from the Holy Land, and obviously masses with the Holy Father and other liturgies from Rome. So people can go to ewtn.com/Christmas, and you can click on a link there that shows all the programming highlights, and so people can really schedule their whole time as we enter into this Christmas season. So ewtn.com/Christmas for all the different specials. A lot of kids programming too, which parents really appreciate as well.
Yeah. Somebody called on radio today saying that, no, it's so commercialized. Why isn't it more religious? Yeah. And that's what we do.
That's right.
We do.
So tune in to EWTN.
Thank you very much for being here, and we'll be back with just a couple minutes with tonight's guest, so please stay with us. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is closely linked to the cause for beatification of servant of God, Empress Zita, wife of Blessed Charles of Austria. Empress Zita was brought up in the faith, as was her husband, who both lived heroic, virtuous lives in the midst of trying to lead the Austro-Hungarian Empire through World War I, as well as raise a family during times of international conflict, times of exile, and times of financial ruin. Here to tell us more about Empress Zita's life and spirituality, please welcome her granddaughter, Princess Maria Anna Galitzine. Your Royal Highness, welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you back.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah, the last program about your grandfather,
yes.
Blessed Karl, was very informative and interesting. Now, your grandmother is also being considered for the process of beatification. And of course, you knew her.
Yes, we were very lucky. She lived a long, long life, and so she was often with different of her children. and of course came to my father. My father was the fifth son of Blessed Karl and servant of God Zita. And he and my grandmother were very close, and as she was with all the children. And so she came often to our house and was with us.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice. I mentioned to you at your last visit that your grandmother, Empress Zita, died in early April
Yes.
of 1989.
Exactly.
And I had taken note of that because my grandmother was still alive. I said, wow, that's my Busha's last empress. Because my grandmother grew up in the Austrian section of Poland, which frankly was the best part of Poland to be in. The Prussian part was a little bit more strict and difficult, as they can sometimes be up there. And then the Russian part was extremely difficult, very difficult.
Now, we Austrians are very gemütlich.
Yeah. That Gemütlichkeit is.
Yes.
Now, they did tear down the walls of the cities to make sure nobody caused any trouble.
Yeah, sure.
But it really was a place that was, much more relaxed and easygoing. And having Catholic rulers was very important. Of course, the Poles were being Catholic, but the Prussians were not, and the Russians were not. And that there was religious as well as ethnic tension. So this was a great thing. And then 2.5 weeks after your grandmother died, my grandmother died. So I said, wow, you probably wouldn't have met, her empress had they all stayed in the old country.
Probably.
Now they may have their chance. Now, I also want to let our audience know we were supposed to be joined by Diane Schwind.
Yes.
She's a good friend of yours.
Yes.
A delightful person. She's the president of the American Foundation for the Beatification of Empress Zita.
Yes.
But her plane broke. I didn't do it. You didn't do it. They had mechanical problems on the plane, and she remained stuck in Dallas, so she couldn't be here. But we will join her later by phone because she has information about parts of the process.
Yes.
With you, I'd like to talk more about your grandparents, especially with your grandmother, and why she's being beatified. This is a very interesting process. A number of your own relatives from long past and who were royalty, and people who were not relatives, but to the Habsburgs. But many times we've seen kings and queens beatified and canonized. But rarely is it both the husband and wife, one or the other, but not both. Yeah. In many cases, I think England, King Edward I and his wife Matilda, they're among the few. So this is a special event. And they're part of a process of a number of modern couples, as couples becoming beatified. Tell us why. What's so special about this couple?
Well, first, we have to go in a little bit, return in the beginning of their life.
Yes.
Both of them grew up in families where they were happy. And mostly my grandmother, because she was born in an enormous family, very big. They were 24, 12 from the first wife of the Duke of Parma, who was her father. And when his first wife died, he remarried with Maria Antonia of Braganza, and she gave him also 12 children. Wow. And my grandmother comes from those 12 children. But she told me always that they were a big group of children, and when they moved from one place to the other, they needed to have a whole train for them, for everybody, the family, the people around the family. And so I can just imagine it must have been a lot of fun. But the education was strict and geared about also to help the others. As young girl, she had already she needed to work for some days, for working and helping. Her saint name, Saint Zita, she loved her very much, and Saint Zita was saying, "I work with my hand, and I have my heart to God." So that's the two parts that I must say also I was seeing in my grandmother.
Yes.
And then she met her future husband, Archduke Karl at that time, and they got engaged in 1911 and got very quickly married. She was very young at that time, and she tells me about a wonderful honeymoon that they did in the whole empire of Austria. She loved it, and I think it was a complete love between the two of them. But
And so let me just also let folks understand, your grandfather, Archduke Karl, was not expected to become
No.
the emperor.
Exactly.
So it's not as if she's looking to prepare to become the empress, or that they were just, from noble families, loved each other, and going to raise a
yes,
family.
and it was very rare at that time that this kind of marriage were absolutely founded on love.
Yeah.
Because usually they were arranged marriages.
Yes.
And,
And often, if I may add,
not always good.
No, they're arranged more for the connections
Exactly.
of land,
Yes.
power, and influence
Exactly.
of the fathers.
Yes, yes. Some arranged marriage went very well,
Mm-hmm.
and some other were a bit more difficult. But people knew how to go through it. But for my grandfather and my grandmother, it was not like that. They were completely in love, and they were so happy with each other. And everybody knows about my grandfather saying just before the wedding that to his future wife, "Now we have to help each other to go to heaven." So it was not only a union of love, but it was based on their very strong religion and very strong faith in God.
Yes.
And the idea that they will help each other to be even better.
Yeah.
And
And that's one of the keys in these married couples who are going through the process of beatification and canonization, that was their goal, to help each
Exactly,
other
yes.
get to heaven.
yes, exactly.
Not to get an earthly kingdom, but the heavenly kingdom. That was
Yeah.
right up front.
And what you said very rightly, Father Mitch, it's that they were not, it was not expected to them to reign, because before them there was first the reigning emperor, Franz Joseph, and then the next, as you know, the son of Franz Joseph was killed, or was assassinated. My grandmother said he was killed. I believe in her. And Rudolf in Mayerling, and then Franz Ferdinand and his wife were shot in Sarajevo. That was the next in line. And so in a very bizarre turn of history, when my grandmother turned 24 years old, she became empress. And can you just imagine being 24 and having this very heavy burden on you? On the other side, it was the war, because under Franz Joseph started the First World War, where my grandfather had nothing to do. He was in the army at that time. He was not engaged in the pourparlers, in the talks.
Yeah, he was not negotiating this. And again, so folks understand, the assassination of your great-great-uncle, sort of started this series of dominoes that were stupidly put next to each other, and somehow led to a war that nobody had seemingly planned.
Exactly.
But Europe had so many guns and soldiers, they just sort of moved, it collapsed into this violence that led to 25 million people being killed.
Yes. and it was very sad. And my grandfather was telling to my grandmother at that time, I cannot understand why people are rejoicing so much to go to war at that time. Don't they know that they are sending their children to a war where they will be killed, perhaps? But it was the problem at that time. Everybody went to war joyously. They thought, you know, this is it. This is the thing that we have to do, pushed by the governments and nationalism. Lots of different causes made this war. Yeah. And it's very sad because I think the First World War then had the consequence of that was the Second World War, of course.
Yes. Yeah, well, the Allies had exacted so much punishment on Germany, Austria, and the Axis forces that it became impossible to recover. And that anger and resentment just burst into another war.
Exactly.
And it's very important for folks to also understand. Pope Pius X did everything he could to stop the war. Pope Benedict XV worked hard, and I believe along with your grandfather.
Exactly, and that was the second.
Make a decent peace. Nobody will listen.
It was the second time my grandfather, when the war finished, my grandfather was exiled with all his family. At that time, they had five children. Yeah, 5 children already, and the 6th was my father, but he was the firstborn in Switzerland. They were exiled in Switzerland, and so my grandfather tried twice to come back in Hungary, and as you were saying, Pope Benedict XV, who knew perfectly well that the Soviets were starting to be a big menace for the Catholics in everywhere in the countries along Russia, he wanted to have a strong Catholic king, being the king of Hungary, who could stop this invasion of this influence of the Soviet Union and the communism. And so that's why he asked my grandfather to go back to Hungary. And my grandmother was not happy at all, but as we were talking, she decided to follow what the church was saying and to follow the wish of her husband. And she went with her husband to Hungary, what was a defeat. And that's how then they had to move to Madeira. They had to go on a ship, and they were exiled in Madeira.
And Madeira is an island off of Spain, correct?
Portugal, yes.
Off of Portugal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And there they went. They had no money. For the longest time, they couldn't even know what was happening to their children. It was very difficult for them. And on the boat, they had no possibility to hear the Mass, and they were used to have every day a Mass. And so they came into Madeira, beautiful island, and that's where the last year of my grandfather with my grandmother, and that's where I think also the sainthood of both of them became even bigger, because my grandfather said to my grandmother, I think I will die for helping my people. And my grandmother was horrified. She was expecting her 8th child, and she had 7 children, very young. But she didn't say anything. She put her faith in her husband, and her husband says, yes, and I will do that. And so I think he was a saint, knowing what God is asking from him, and she was a saint accepting the faith that her husband asked her to do.
And he did die in 1922?
22, 1st of April, yes.
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 And
it will be now nearly 100 years. In 22, it will be 100 years.
And so, and this is something that, he left her with these children, and she still had a good deal of struggle. It wasn't as if they had smuggled all kinds of money and jewels
no
and things
money,
like that.
yes.
There's nothing.
Yes.
So they went from a life that had been provided by the empire to a life that they made for themselves, and then she took leadership.
Of the family.
And you describe her as being someone who had this presence and dignity, a real charism about her. She wasn't just some wee little woman.
No.
Just no.
No, she was very intelligent. When I knew her, she was so interested in politics. She was reading the newspaper, listening to the news on the television. She was always happy to discuss everything. She had so many very high-placed people who went and visit her and asked her advice. And she had these 3 little bedrooms in the convent in Zitzers, and so many people passed by and asked her what she thought about this and this thing. She was a very wise woman. She was also very strong, and she was a wonderful mother. Mm-hmm. She educated her children in the best way, looking that they have the best. First, she made homeschooling in Spain. She had some teacher coming in, monks also, Benedictine monks. And then she went to Belgium, where she found the best schools for her children, best university for the eldest. And also they finished in Quebec, in Canada, the university, very quickly, because that was the Second World War. And most of the children, the 2 last boys, my father and my uncle went into the American army. Mm-hmm. So that must have been also difficult for her, knowing that her children are again in danger and being in the war that she hated so much. And but after the war, she continued the idea of my grandfather helping his people, that they, during the sacrament, when they became king in Hungary, they promised they will look after their people. And so she did some conferences and asked Americans to help Austrians and Hungarians after the war. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she was somebody who was always trying to help as much as her own children, grandchildren, mm-hmm. as much as all her people.
There's this ability to, on one hand, be looking to her husband to be a source of growing in holiness.
Yes.
But it wasn't passive. She wanted to become holy. I've known couples where one spouse really seeks holiness and the other one doesn't. Sometimes is afraid that they won't enjoy life as much if they seek holiness, which is not true. Mm-hmm. Here you had a husband who's a drive toward holiness and a woman who said, yes, I accept that. And then when he died, she continues on in a lifelong growth, because she lived another 77 years after him.
Exactly, yes. And her task was that her children would be educated like her husband wanted them, and that her first boy, Otto, Archduke Otto, would be the head of the family as her husband wanted that he will be. And I was telling you that in the Positio, she was telling that, talking about her husband, that what he liked the most is to try that his children and herself would go nearer to God. So as you were saying, he was funneling her faith grew more through her contact with her husband, but at the same time it flourishes and became very strong once she was widow, and she was really the rock of the family.
Yeah, it really became her faith and her desire for holiness lived out not as a pseudo nun.
No.
You know, because some people say, well, you have to sort of act like a nun. No, she was a mother.
Yeah, exactly.
And she, you know, made sure that she had this leadership in her family, but she also kept bringing her own intelligence and strength
Yes,
to influence the world beyond her family as well.
yes, yes, absolutely.
This is something that I think, you know, we have tensions in the modern world about how to live as husband and wife. How does each spouse identify themselves and, you know, be their person and all. And sometimes we're so worried about each one finding himself or herself that they don't seek to find God together.
Yes,
This is what characterized your grandparents.
Exactly.
Seeking to find God together for the sake of each other.
absolutely. And she wasn't afraid, I think, to lose her personality. On the contrary, I think, on the contrary, being so in love, attached, and following her husband, she also had her character, her intelligence coming out, because they were a real couple, helping each other, and when there were some difficult moments, they were talking, both of them, and both of them had the respect of the knowledge of each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And
This is key.
in the
You
marriage,
know,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's not easy.
No. You know, I can remember when I was a boy that sometimes the sisters in school would say, well, being a priest is really a hard vocation, but if you can't do it, then you can be married. and especially as a priest, I said, sisters, thank you, but that's not correct. Each vocation has
Yes.
its distinctive crosses. That there are, and the crosses that make us holy, that die to ourselves so we can become holy.
And I would also say that my grandmother had another vocation when her husband died. Her vocation was her widow, to be a widow, because it's not easy to be a widow, and mostly a widow how she was. And she did that fantastically. She was a mother and also a representative of her husband through her actions.
The thing I was so struck by in the way that you described her when you were a girl yourself and a young adult is, you know, the way when she walked in the room, she just was this commanding presence. Without being somebody that would beat you.
No.
It was because there was so much inner strength.
Yes. And she lived with us. We sadly lost my mother when I was 14 years old. So she stayed with us. We were four. I had three brothers, and she was always with us. So she lived in that room downstairs, and her door were always open. So I could always come with tons of questions to her. And she was there for all the dinners. We always washed together the dishes after. She was sitting there discussing. And so she was a very good presence, a very important presence in our life. That was very important during the time we had this terrible loss of my mother. So she filled it up very well, you know, not imposing like being a mother, no, but she was just a very réconfortant, very wonderful person, helpful, but on the other side also strict with us. When we were a very rowdy bunch of children, so from time to time at dinner we had too many conversations, we talked too much, and the key word was es schneit in die Ardennen. When my grandmother was saying es schneit in die Ardennen, that means it is snowing in the Ardennes, then that means we should stop and talk about something else. And so you see, she had some. some
Sort of a code word.
Yes, code words where this is it, you can change.
Sounds like she was fun.
Yes,
you know, and,
she had
and again,
good humor.
just a nice thing to say. You know, yeah, we were just doing dishes together. You wouldn't expect the Austro-Hungarian Empress to be doing dishes.
No, she was sitting with us and we were doing the
Yeah,
dishes.
okay.
But still, she was very present there.
Yeah.
And so, what was nice, she could have retired in her room and no, she was always part of whatever we did together.
Nice. We have to take a little break. We're going to come back. We will be speaking to Mrs. Diane Schwind, who is the president of the American Foundation for the Beatification of Empress Zita. And then we'll be ready for your questions as well. So please stay with us. Welcome back. And we've been talking with Princess Rihanna Galitzine about her grandmother, Empress Zita, a servant of God whose process of canonization is well underway. But we have the other guest we were supposed to have, but beyond our control, the plane had mechanical problems. So she's here. Hopefully the phone company won't have any problems. Mrs. Diane Schwind, are you there?
Yes, Father, I am here.
Oh, great. Good to have you with us. And you are the president for the American Foundation for the Beatification of Empress Zita, correct?
Correct.
Great. I hope you got to hear some of the program.
Oh, I have. We've been sitting here watching it since we couldn't be there and be a part of it. We've just been nice and comfy here in the living room watching the program.
Oh, great, great. Well, can you tell us a little bit about where the cause for Empress Zita is at this stage? What's happening in this process of beatification?
Well, with the title of Servant of God, that is kind of the beginning of the whole process. Mm-hmm. And so there are many different foundations throughout the world. Many different countries now have foundations to make her cause known, to be able to share the holiness of her life as a wife and as a mother and a grandmother. And so the next step would be venerable. And to my understanding, that is some investigation is done on her life. And when that investigation is completed and deemed that she was, in fact, a holy example in her lifetime, then she can be given the name venerable. And then one miracle in her intercession, with her intercession comes about, then she can be moved up to the level of Blessed Carl and be beatified. So that's kind of where we are.
And then the next step after that would be yet another miracle that would
Correct.
make it possible for them to be canonized, correct?
Correct. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
by miracle, we don't mean, oh, I found a parking space on Manhattan. That does not count. It has to be something that is a very definite, clear miracle and not just a nice coincidence.
Correct.
Yes. So, so the process is that moving her towards becoming venerable. And who's doing the examination of her life?
I believe that's being done at Solesmes in France,
Okay.
the Benedictine monastery at Solesmes. That is where her cause began. She has a beautiful connection with Solesmes and thereby with Clear Creek Monastery here in the States, which is where her cause is housed. if you will, here in the United States, is at Clear Creek Monastery, which is a foundation of Salem.
And so folks understand, Clear Creek Monastery is in the great state of Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. So that's just north of where you are. And that's also Benedictine. And in fact, your family, the Habsburgs, have had a long, intimate relationship with the Benedictine order for centuries.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I've been to a number of the monasteries that your family has, sponsored and built.
Yeah.
Melk and other
Melk,
places. It's wonderful. So, so having the Benedictines involved in this is very, very important.
Absolutely.
And so, and what do you yourself do as president of this American Foundation?
It is a fairly new foundation. We haven't even been established for an entire year yet. So right now it is just sharing as much as possible the story of Zita and who she is, and her holiness. Again, I mean, I like to say she is for the women of our world today, because she was a very strong, as Princess Mariana said, very intelligent woman, but she also knew her power was in her true femininity as wife and mother and grandmother. And, her heart was also with all of her people of Austria-Hungary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's also good to remind ourselves that in some ways they're her adopted people, because she came from Italy, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
but her heart was large enough to go beyond any nationalism to love this people.
The whole empire.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why she collected clothing and food and help for not only the Austrian but also the Hungarian, for instance.
Yeah.
After the Second World War.
Yeah, yeah. And if Diane, if somebody wants to find out more about the foundation and about Servant of God Zita, where can they go? How can they find that out?
We do have a website. It is kind of fledgling right now, but we've had a gentleman step forward who's offered to kind of take that on. But our website is EmpressZitaCause.com. And
So
that's where we'll be
Empress-
posting events that we have. And there's also a link to the French website, the home of her process.
Okay, so Empress Zita, and that's Zita. So EmpressZitaCause.com. And if people are interested to find out more about her, they can go there. Are there any books, any biographies of her being prepared?
There are two wonderful, so I hear, because they're in French, biographies that have come out of the Salem group, but they are also in the process of being translated into English. But
Okay.
there are a couple that you can get your hands on here in the States. One or two is actually already out of print, so you would have to find it, used bookstore. But there are a couple of books that can be found.
And also there is an English biography of your grandfather.
Oh, yes. Several,
Blessed Carl,
yes.
several. And people, in fact, some of them are available at our religious catalog. And when you read about him, you will also read about Empress Zita, at least through the part of the life that
exactly.
he's still alive.
Because you cannot separate them. They are
Yeah.
close together, and their way of life is very close.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you, Diane.
Hey, we are missing you.
Yes. Oh, I wish I could have been there, but it just wasn't meant to be. Thank you, though, for allowing me in over the phone.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you. Wish that you could have been here, but God bless you and have a blessed Christmas.
Thank you, Father.
All right. Take care. So the book about your grandfather is called, is it Blessed Charles of Austria, a holy emperor and his legacy. Blessed Charles of Austria, a holy emperor and his legacy. This is by Charles Coulomb, and it is available at ewtnrc.com, where it's item number 3280. So that would be a good thing. And there's an international website about Empress Zita. It's called Association Imperatrice Zita. It's Association Imperatrice Zita, Imperatrice, which means empress.
Imperatrice.
Yeah, Imperatrice in French. I was saying like it's Latin.
No, you do very well.
And yeah, in French it'd be Imperatrice. But it's the Association of the Beatification of Empress Zita. So those are.
And it's in Le Mans, in France, in Le Mans, and it's close to Solesmes,
Yes.
where she went very often, because she had 3 of her sister nuns there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And Solesmes itself is a very, very important monastery. It was one of the most important centers for the resurgence of Gregorian chant.
Yes, yes.
After the French Revolution, many books had been destroyed, and a lot were lost, they thought. So it was the monks at Solesmes who helped to, and the sisters too, I assume, that were working on getting these books redone and published and training people for the beauty of Gregorian chant. So Solesmes is a very important place too.
That's very nice.
Well, this is a positive thing, and one of the questions I would have is, you look back on knowing your grandmother, how did that affect your faith? You know, what kind of influence, because your own mother died when you were young, how did the Empress's faith, have an impact on your faith?
So first, when I was prepared for my first communion by her, as she was doing with all her grandchildren, and we were rather young, because my father and she probably also decided that we should have first communion very early. I must have been 6 years old, and so that was the moment where I understood the importance of the consecration, the center of the Mass. And she explained it to me so well that I still remember some prayers that I'm still saying during the consecration, because that was something that she gave to me, probably also to the other grandchildren. And after that, she was an example. Her faith. She didn't say so much about her faith, that you should just see how she was praying in a church, and how she was talking in general, where everything was turned to God. You understood the deep faith that she had, and that was really an example. I must say also, the example came also from my father. He was like her, and so and I saw how it was, and you build your own faith, not from the education of your parents, that comes as a base, but then you yourself have to decide where you want to go in life, and that helped me a lot.
This is another very important thing, because we have a lot of parents today who think, well, look, I don't want to impose my belief on my children, so I won't teach them anything, let them figure it out when they get older. That's not very good sense.
I think
in
it's
my
very
opinion.
unfair for the children.
Yeah.
Because you can give them a base of whatever, and they can overturn the base if they want to later
Yes.
on. But if you don't give them nothing, So they cannot overturn anything, and they have no chance in life to find something else.
Yeah. I think that this is a very important point. I often ask them, well, since you're born in America, you are not going to impose English on them, are you? That doesn't sound fair. What if they prefer Chinese? Or what if they prefer Russian? Don't teach them English. Wait till they get older, then they can choose a language.
That's not fair.
Well, see, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Should they want to move to another country because they like the other language or culture, they will.
They can, yes.
But if they don't have any culture, they'll never learn how to speak anything.
Exactly.
That's the reality with something as simple as language.
Yeah.
How much more with something even more important like eternal life.
Eternal life. Our way of living.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And she was fantastic in giving her children that, and they gave it to us. And also at the same time, we saw our grandmother, how she was.
Yeah, and in fact, in your home, you had a number of languages spoken, correct?
Yes.
Let's go back to the language thing. Which language did she speak to you in?
In German.
Yeah.
We spoke always German. I think afterwards, I thought that was natural for me, but I thought then afterwards she did it for her husband also, because that's how Austrian children should speak. I wonder why we didn't speak French with her, but no, it was in German. French was, in fact, also her language. She spoke very well. She was French, Bourbon. And our French was better than our German. But with Großmama, we spoke always German.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you know, the thing, again, German was not her first language.
No, I think it was in her first languages because remember she moved every year from Italy to Austria, half a year in Italy, half a year in Austria. So she lived every year half a year in Austria. So she spoke perfect German.
Yeah, yeah, and she also
And of
spoke
course at home
Italian.
French. And Italian perfectly well.
Yeah.
And she was very gifted in languages.
That's, well, you know, again, the Austro-Hungarian Empire really required
Yes.
facility with language because it was so diverse.
And she had to learn Hungarian. And I remember one.
Wow, that's
It's
not
not
easy.
easy. One
No.
time we were all in Zitzers, where she was, and always there was a reunion every year. And at that time, Cardinal Mindszenty came. He came. It was wonderful to know him, and we were young. But I remember her sitting next to him and talking fluently in Hungarian.
Wonderful.
So her Hungarian was perfect.
Wow. Wow. And again, so folks understand this, Hungarian is not related to Indo-European languaes. It's not related to German or Italian.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, quite difficult. Very intelligent people, those Hungarians.
Yeah.
So but their language is difficult for the rest of us to learn. And so this is something that is part of her gift. Also to use that intelligence to build up bonds with other people. And you know, not to say you have to come to my level. She met people where they were as well.
And that was also very important for an emperor to know all the languages of this big empire. There were so many different languages.
Yeah.
And since young, they had to learn. My uncle Otto, Archduke Otto, he spoke also perfectly well Hungarian.
This is the kind of thing that they would have to do. And again, it's not something about just becoming academic and showing off.
No.
It's about respect and meeting other people to understand them in their terms. Those are the kind of things that are part of our growth in sanctity.
Yeah.
You know, that you care enough about other people, respect them, to learn what they have to offer. And that's something that, especially in our modern world, we like to emphasize all this diversity. Well, diversity also means you understand and respect without losing who you are.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
this
true.
is- this-
And she did that very well.
Yeah, this is a wonderful thing. Well, again, want to let people know that they can go to the American Foundation, EmpressZetaCause.com. There's also an international foundation, Association Imperatrice Zeta, or it looks like Imperatrice Zeta.com. This is for her. And then, of course, there's also EmperorCharles.org, because there is an Emperor Carl League of Prayer.
Exactly.
One of the things I liked about this in our last visit is that I don't often have a sense that our own contemporary politicians always center on sanctity and holiness. And to have a league that is praying, but praying in the name of a modern person in international politics, I think to intercede for our politicians. That's a very important thing to do these days. There's so much at stake and a lot of dangers in the world. So this is important.
And it's very courageous to be a leader and at the same time a Christian leader.
Yes.
And it's not easy because politics is one of the most complicated and difficult thing. You have so many choices and it's always...
And so many pressures.
Yes, so many pressures. It's very difficult then to say, this is what I believe should be done. It's very difficult to do
Well,
it.
we can enter into that prayer. Thank you for joining us again. Thank all of you for being with us. May Almighty God bless you and keep you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we can bring you Her Highness and all the other guests and the Christmas specials and all the shows that we've got because the network is brought to you. So please keep us in between your gas bill, your electric bill, and your cable bill, and we'll pay our bills too. God bless you all, and thank you.